the bizarre meltdown with Elon Musk's latest child's mother, allegedly. So a woman named Ashley St. Clair, who claims she's 26, but many internet sleuths claim she's actually 31 or 32. I have no idea. Comes out via tweet on Friday, I think it was, over the weekend, and says, I am the mother of Elon Musk's latest baby, who's 5 months old. It's a boy, and he's the father, but it's become clear that a tabloid magazine is going to out this fact, regardless of the harm. So I am going to tell you myself that I want to raise my child, and I am Elon's latest child's mother. Baby mama is the less nice way of saying it. So Elon doesn't respond to that directly, but then the internet starts like weighing in on this, saying, whoa, is this true? What's happening? And somebody finds an old tweet of this woman's from years ago, 2020, trying to get Elon's contact information and talking about the fact that he's slept with a lot of women and impregnated them, and sounds like she would like for this to happen. And Elon retweets that old resurfaced tweet of hers and writes, whoa. That's all. That's the only response he's given so far to this whole thing. So we have no idea whether this is really his child's mother. And then Ashley St. Clair is chastising him, saying, you don't respond to me, you're not talking to me, and now this is what you finally respond to? We've been trying to communicate for the past several days. You've not responded. When are you going to reply to us instead of publicly responding to smears from an individual who just posted photos of me in underwear at 15 years old? She's referring to the guy who resurfaced her old tweet. So it's kind of confusing, but it's a long way of saying this woman is accusing Elon of impregnating her and not, I guess, negotiating with her on the care of the child, or at least not to the point where she's happy with the negotiation. She's upset about the privacy, that the tabloid's coming. And the next day, after the tweet hits, she poses for a full spread in the New York Post in like her sexy wear, the pictures of her. Yeah, like she's wearing a corset. And this is her in this like swanky New York apartment, which is described as like lavish. Here she is with the floor to ceiling windows and the great views. And all I can think as I look at this is your life is the way it is because you decided it would be, because of your choices, madam. Like you set it up this way. I posted on Twitter. You can have a swanky New York apartment. You could earn money and actually wind up renting one yourself. You could also find a man who wants to marry you and raise children with you, and who won't have other women in his life at the same time. All of this is available to you. Not just her, but any woman. You do not have to make a choice where you try to bang the billionaire to get his baby so that he'll put you up in some lavish New York City apartment and take care of you for the rest of his life, and then be shocked when he doesn't actually want to have a relationship with you. And the only way you can maybe get him to respond to you is via tweet. I'm sorry, but again, you made choices. They were very bad ones. And these are the consequences of that.
I would say, just as a numbers game, statistically, any of us could be the child of Elon Musk. So we don't, when we're trying to adjudicate the claim as to whether or not the baby is really Elon's, statistically, really any child you come across in the street could have been sired by the head of Doge. I actually ran into Ashley at one of the inauguration events in D.C. because Ashley is pretty well known among conservative media.
She's an influencer.
She's an influencer, she's involved in the online right. She had a book on kind of making fun of transgenderism, a children's book. And so people are aware of her. And she's very active on Twitter, and Elon's very active on Twitter. And so I guess I'm not terribly surprised that the two of them linked up in some way, given how prolific Elon is at producing many things, children included. And so I guess my biggest political takeaway from the whole story, which, generally men are not all that tuned into these kinds of stories. It's also not exactly a man bites dog story. So I've paid a little bit of attention to it. And my biggest takeaway is a political truth that has existed since classical antiquity up to the present. Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. And that is a lesson that not only the billionaires should know and people in media and politics should know. That is true for everyone. And it does seem to appear to be what's going on here is that, as has been reported, Ashley St. Clair says that she feels jilted or and ignored. And it's not just right-wing influencers who are going to act out and lash out when that occurs. That's a lot of women,
Here's what's crazy, though. Okay, so Elon believes that he wants to have a lot of children, that it's important to overpopulate the earth, and says he's doing his part.
Yep.
Now, you could say he's a cad, but he appears to be very open about this with the women in his life. He's like, all these women are having babies by him via surrogate. So that means he's fully participating. They're trying to get pregnant. Not as far as I know this woman. I don't know. I don't know whether this was, conceived the old-fashioned way or via IVF. But they're actively trying to make babies of Elon's. And they're into it. Now, I don't know whether all the women are disclosed to the other women. I don't know, and it's none of my business. But this woman knew all of that when she decided to get into a relationship with him. Yes, he's older. He's in his 50s, and she's allegedly 26 to 31. But you know all of this. And in fact, the post he resurfaced of hers on the internet shows her saying, I think he's got 7 kids from multiple different women. By the way, she has another kid from a different man already at 26 to 31. Okay? So my point is simply, if this really did happen, she walked into this eyes open. That's fine. No judgment. If that's the way you want to live your life, go for it, sister. Would not be my choice. But once you do that, don't ask me to feel sorry for you. Don't do the sad posts about how he won't talk to you. Don't try to go public ginning up hatred against him for negotiating via tweet. This is the life you chose. I don't understand why young women feel that they have 2 choices if they want some sort of a lavish lifestyle. They can, I guess one choice is I don't understand how these women think their only road to financial success is to marry a rich guy or get pregnant by a rich guy and make him pay for your lifestyle. To me, it's so fucking disempowering. Go earn your own money. If you want to be rich, if you want a nice damn apartment, why don't you work? Why don't you earn it? Why are you just trying to bag some rich guy? It's so fucked up. It's wrong. I feel like, okay. And then I'm almost done. If you do bang the rich guy, and if you do get pregnant with his child, then when it doesn't work out, be dignified about it. Don't go on Twitter. I don't believe her on the tabloid story. I don't believe her because it doesn't seem like she doesn't want publicity. She did the whole big spread with the New York Post. She wants publicity. Even if a tabloid was about to break it, then they break it and you say nothing. That's the classy highbrow way of handling this. She seems to want the attention and also at the same time want our sympathy. And I'm having a really difficult time giving it to her.
Well, I think also to your point, Megyn, whatever you think about Elon and his views on natalism, which I think Elon is totally right that we have an underpopulation problem, and I think he's right that people should have more children. I would encourage people to do it the old-fashioned way. I'm a mackerel snapping papist myself, so I think marriage is a lifelong union of a man and a woman ordered toward the procreation and education of children, and also for the mutual support of the spouses. But people across geography, across social classes, across everywhere are broadly confused about these questions, in part because the revolutions, especially of the 1960s, really blew up our moral and ethical thinking on these matters. So I actually have a great deal of sympathy for people who are really confused about it. And, but regardless of what you think about what Elon does, You can't say he's hiding the ball. Okay, he is very clear about his views of natalism and IVF and all. So yeah, people know exactly what they're getting going into it. And
That's the thing.
I agree with you, Megyn.
So it's not like, oh, we got married and you promised to be mine and mine alone, and then you impregnated me and you left me and you didn't take care of our child and you were with other women. That's a totally different breach of covenant. This is like, I don't know that he breached any covenant whatsoever. Now, he will have to take care of that child if he actually is the father. That's the law. And he has taken care of the other 12 he's had with others. So I believe he will. I don't know whether this is in fact his child. And I don't know what the contract negotiation, if any, is behind the scenes. But I'm just saying, again, your life is the way it is because you set it up that way. And if you've made poor choices, which have led to poor outcomes, you need to look at yourself to get better results in the future. At yourself, not at Elon, not at the tabloids, not at anyone other than yourself. Because this woman's had 2 children by age 26 by 2 different men, and at least one of them she claims is not speaking to her nor acknowledging paternity. There's a problem. And as my favorite poem says, you'll find the fault lies in you. You have yourself to blame, which is not me blaming the woman. It's me telling her she's empowered to change her life and make better decisions, as are we all. Okay, I guess I wasn't quite done. Now I'm done.
I've long said, Megyn, my fallback plan, if my cigar company or if my podcast doesn't work out, is to be impregnated by Elon. They haven't figured out how that's going to work yet. But there are a lot of people. I mean, we're kind of joking about it. There are a lot of people who, in our kind of wild kind of ethical thinking these days, we all think we have to reinvent the wheel. But I think one of the lessons of conservatism is that you don't have to reinvent the wheel, that the old institutions and the old behaviors have endured for a reason. And so I think a lot of people would be totally willing to offer grace to a single mother. A lot of people are even willing to offer grace to people who have kind of avant-garde and bizarre views of having children and things like that. But all of this seems to me to be a recommendation of the old way of doing things. That actually the way that people have gotten married, had kids, lived their lives for statistically all of history, those have worked out pretty well, and so if there is some political lesson to be drawn from this, and we're talking about multiple public figures, so there are political lessons to be drawn, it seems to me that maybe sticking with the old way of doing things is a good idea. And in fact, that's my recommendation when it comes to most subjects.
Well, I mean, obviously in our shared Catholic Church, they don't encourage any premarital sex. I can't say that most of us abided by that, but I would say this. If you are having premarital sex and you don't trust the other person to do the right thing in the event of a pregnancy, and you know that you would never abort your baby, then you better have a plan. You better, to quote Fannie Willis, a man is not a plan. You better have your own plan. I just think it's, the reason most people do use birth control religiously when they're having premarital sex is because they don't want this kind of thing to happen. And this has happened to her twice. I don't know what their deal was, but she can change her life because she seems like she was an up and comer. She's got a big Twitter following. There are a lot of people on the right who like this person. She didn't need a man to create a great life for herself. She was on her way. We continue to face uncertainty when it comes to the economy, with a perfect storm brewing as Social Security and Medicare hit a breaking point as the largest generation is hitting retirement. A smaller workforce means a smaller tax base. You pair that with our growing national debt and rising cost of living, and we could have a big problem. So what are you doing now to protect your family for the future? Gold can be a safe haven in hard economic times, and Birch Gold makes it easy to diversify a portion of your savings into physical gold. Birch Gold will help you transition an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in gold, and it does not cost you 1 cent out of pocket. Protect your future today. Text MK to 989898, get your free info kit on gold, and get a copy of the Ultimate Guide for Gold in the Trump Era with a foreword by Donald Trump Jr. There's no obligation, just information. Birch Gold has earned the trust of countless Americans looking to safeguard their savings. Just text my initials MK to the number 989898 today. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.